Hello Bellezas, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here then just welcome. Hi, my name is Brenda. I do paranormal videos here on my channel, so if that is something that you are interested in, please consider subscribing down below and turn on your post notifications so you do not miss when I post another video like this one. Now with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. Hello everybody. Yes, I am not in my usual setup. I am not at home filming this because I won't be home until past 8:30 in the evening, and I won't have time after that because I'm currently filming another set of videos for my vlog when I get home, so I wasn't gonna have time to film a video for this channel. So just wanted to address that really quickly so you guys knew why I was in a different setting. And I have been missing being able to consistently film in my room, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do when it comes to getting content out. It's just best to get that done. Okay, and enough rambling from me here, and let's get right into the meat of it all. Today we are going to be reading some doppelganger related stories. Now, if you guys know what a doppelganger is, or if you don't, it's basically somebody who is supposed to look like you. It's supposed to be just a person who is living their own life and they just so happen to look very similar to you, and people mistaken that definition of doppelganger with somebody who is an exact copy of you, but with some kind of paranormal aspect to it. And the correct terminology for what that is, I'm not too sure, because I know doppelganger is not supposed to mean that directly. I have covered a case here before that has to do with that. Yeah, that has to do with a doppelganger case, but it is actually a sort of superpower, if you will, some kind of I don't even know exactly how to call it, but it's basically where somebody can duplicate their own energy and their own self and have two people at the same time, basically, but it's actually themselves. Because as I said, a doppelganger is another real human being with their own life who just so happens to look very, very, very similar to you. Okay, so now that you guys kind of understand what these definitions are, these stories that are considered doppelganger stories are more on the side of somebody who looks exactly like you and is a paranormal entity, which makes it even more scary than just having somebody who happens to look a little bit like you through some kind of genetic phenomena, right? But all right, let's go ahead and get into these. I'm reading these off of a website called Ranker, so let me know if you've ever heard any of these. I figure some of these are going to be from a lot of different sources like Reddit and so on and so forth, but I will be crediting the authors down below depending on where they're coming from. Story number 1, let's get into it. Late at night, I usually go to the bathroom multiple times, but for the past 4 days, every time I go to leave, I can see myself still standing in the mirror from the corner of my eye. It is like the other me is watching me leave the bathroom. It terrifies me to the point where I almost run out without looking directly at the mirror. I never told my husband about it because, God, my fucking phone scared the shit out of me. I never told my husband about it because I didn't want to acknowledge it out loud. Earlier today, I took a nap in our bed while he sat in the chair next to it, watching TV. When I woke up, he told me that he had seen me sit up and crawl backwards to the edge of the bed and stand up in front of our bedroom door from the corner of his eye. He thought it was weird that I got up like that because I'm in the last month of my pregnancy and I can't really move so well without it hurting. So he tried talking to me. When I didn't answer, he looked at the door to find me not there and still sleeping in bed. I got really creeped out and I finally told him about what I've been seeing in the bathroom. He thought it was creepy as well, but didn't want to really talk about it anymore because he thinks it will give whatever it is power or energy. I have no idea what it wants or why we both have seen it. I don't. Oh, that gave me chills. Oh my god, that is genuinely terrifying image to put in my head. A pregnant woman crawling? Like, what even? Like, what I'm imagining is had seen me sit up and crawl backwards. That's giving me like doing a bridge energy, you know, like this on the bed and crawling up and then getting out and just standing at the door. Like, oh, that is so creepy. I would have done exactly the same thing. I'd be like, okay, we can't give it any power, so we're not going to talk about it. You give it the power, the energy to continue on whatever it may be. But she said it so casually, the thing about seeing herself, like her own reflection in the mirror, like lag when she's leaving the bathroom. It doesn't come with her. Like, girl, forget it. I hate stories like this about like your reflection moving when you're not. Like, that genuinely creeps me out so much. And I totally understand why my little short video that I made a long time ago on TikTok, like if you see a person who looks exactly like you, run, or whatever, that little trend was going on TikTok. I made that and it went like a little bit viral for my channel, which isn't, you know, it doesn't take very much because it's genuinely so scary. And ever since I made that video, I like scared myself. I was like, I'm gonna see something creepy at work. And by the way, I'm making this video while I'm by myself, so I am genuinely terrified. I'm gonna get scared at everything at this point. Okay. See, I'm getting scared. All right. Story number 2. When I was about 16 or 17, I was really heavy into doing the Ouija board. Okay. Other stuff happened, but the doppelgangers were definitely the worst. The first one was my mom. I heard her come in, and my best friend was with me. My friend and I walked out to greet her. She looked like a younger version of my mom and was carrying groceries. So I tried calling out to her, but she didn't respond and walked into my brother's room. Then I got a sick feeling. I called out to her, but she didn't respond still, so I followed her up. She was not there. When I walked back down, my real mom had come in and didn't know what was going on. She was also wearing a different outfit. The next one was my brother. My mom was talking to him on the phone, and he said he was on his way home. As soon as he hung up, my brother walked in the door. He talked to us for a little. My mom wanted him to take out the garbage or something, and then walked to the bathroom. He had been in the bathroom for like 15 minutes, and then I got the sick feeling again. I asked if he had fallen in or something. Then my real brother walked in and was freaked out. My mom checked on him all night to make sure he was okay. Both times they had darker eyes, and it felt sort of like a dream, but I was definitely awake and other people witnessed it. Girl. Can demons do this? I want to know. Because I know that supposedly, allegedly, demons are supposed to be able to mimic people's voices, but when they are mimicking, there's something like off about it. Like, it sounds like them, but it's not really them. You know what I mean? I wonder if demons could do this too, because if you were playing with the Ouija board, if you're conjuring up all the wrong things, all the bad things, because first of all, Miss Girl, what are you doing? Like, I don't care if you don't believe in this kind of stuff, but you cannot be messing with it either way. I feel like people are all like, hee hee ha ha, like it's so funny, like nothing's gonna happen, and then something does happen and they can't explain it, and then now is when they're talking about, I need Jesus, you know? And at that point, you're too far gone. You're gonna need an exorcism, sorry. But I really am curious about what this could have possibly been. Both very scary encounters, and the fact that there was witnesses and that you were not just like it wasn't just mind tricks, because obviously if it felt that real where your mom talked to your brother on the phone and she saw him coming in there and then she's all over here checking up on him, making sure that there's nothing wrong with him. Like, oh my gosh, I would literally lose my mind. Because there's been times where I know that it's just a glitch in the matrix or like a blip in my mind. But even those times where I can explain it in my head, I still like genuinely almost have a heart attack. Okay, so I can't imagine it having the real thing happen. Like, no ma'am. All right, very good story. I really like that one. Now, story number 3, and I'm glad that these are numbered on here because I am notorious for forgetting what number I am on. I've been really good at it, but after a long time of doing this, I start to forget. I remember one Sunday morning, my brother and I were watching Card Captor Sakura, oh my god, I'm pretty sure I said that so wrong, on TV, and someone knocked on the door. We lived in an apartment that was empty. The owner hadn't rented the second floor. It was a 2-bedroom apartment with a kitchen and a bathroom by the door. A small apartment, but with a big window that faces out to the door. So when I heard someone knock, I checked the window and I saw my father. So I thought. I was going to the door to open it. When I was going to unlock the door, my mother pulls me away and screams at me to not open the door because I didn't know who it was. I told her I saw my dad. She freaked out, going to the window and then checking the peephole. She started to get terrified, and she said to go to the farthest room in the apartment and to not come out. She went and woke up my dad. My dad got up angry and confused. We told him what we saw, and the man was still knocking at the door. My dad screamed, "Who is it?" No answer. He said he will call the cops, but no response. While my dad was busy screaming at him, we saw that he was just standing still in front of the door. So my mom took us to the farthest room from the door while my dad got ready to open the door with a metal bat. Once he did, the man was gone. My dad goes out looking everywhere around the apartment. The apartment door was a heavy metal door and was always heard when someone comes in and out. But we heard nothing that morning and nothing when my dad opened the door. We heard no footsteps either, but my brother, my mother, and I saw that man that looked exactly like my father. Oh my god. Bro, could you imagine if your mom didn't intervene? But the fact that she freaked out so hard like that, because actually it wasn't because she knew that he thought it was the dad. She freaked out because you're not supposed to open the door, especially if you're a child in the home. Your mom's like, what do you think you're doing? Like, I'll open the door, girl. Like, who do you think you're, an adult? No. So I get that. I get why she freaked out for that part. But like, wild, right? Like what even goes on in places like this? Like, why are these things even a thing? You know what I mean? Like, why do you have this man's clone? I don't even know what to call it because, apparently doppelganger is not the right term. This entity, like, why did it all of a sudden manifest and decide to knock up some havoc on the door for this apartment? Like, what is the reason? Either way, purely terrifying things. One of the scariest things to pop up into my head is what I could possibly see looking into the peephole, which is why I don't do it very often. I get too scared to even look. I'll wait for the knocking to stop. I'll be like, go away, I'm not expecting anybody. Like, if it's my Amazon package, leave it there. I never go look until the knocking has stopped and I know for sure that nobody's there, because I have a few people who come knock on my door, trying to recruit me to go to their church or Jehovah's Witness and stuff like that. Not recently though. I think it dipped down a lot once COVID started. But anyway, beside the point, I'm rambling. Alright, story number 4. When I was 9, I stayed home sick from school. I distinctly remember that I wasn't actually sick, simply playing hooky to avoid bullying. Kids are cruel. I know that. As I did that a lot around that age. I awoke from a nap, turned on the TV in our living room, and scrolled through some channels when my mother suddenly leaned over the bar and stared at me without saying anything. I had been awake for a few minutes at this point, so I can't rightly blame sleep paralysis for all of this. Now, whatever this thing was, it was entirely identical to my actual mother. It sounds weird to describe, but it was as if the only difference was that this thing pretending to be my mom had never felt a single emotion in its life. It was unsettling. It beckoned me, and I attempted to talk to her as I would my mother. She kept beckoning, refused to answer, and that's when I sensed something horribly wrong. Naturally, I started screaming at this thing to answer me. It just kept beckoning. I bolted, running out of the room and into the yard, yelling for help. My mother, the real one, had been working in the yard and came rushing over. I told her what I'd just seen, and she soothed me with easy explanation that it must have been a fever dream, but thankfully stayed by my side the rest of the afternoon as I was a nervous wreck. And girl, you can't even take that explanation either, because you weren't even sick. Like, if it was a fever dream, of course you would have been like, okay, yeah, you know what? You're right, Mom. Because moms always have a way of making things feel better, and you feel less scared when you're with them. Just that motherly energy. So at least you had that, because the explanation, honey, like, it made no sense. Especially, as you said, no sleep paralysis either. You were standing up straight in the living room watching TV. So freaking terrifying. And again, what summons these things? Like, why are they over here terrorizing you for no reason? Like, you don't already have bullies to do that for you, Miss Girl? Okay. I really like that story. Story number 5. This one's really short. I remember one time... Oh! Sorry, I didn't know why that moved. I remember one time I was talking to my dad in a hallway of my house. I don't remember what it was about. We both saw my mom clearly walk past us and into her room, shutting the door. I walked back out into the living room, and my mom was still on the couch, asleep. I looked back at my dad, and he looked at me. We were both terrified. We both crept over to their bedroom and looked at the closed door. Neither of us went inside. We were freaked. I'm pretty sure my dad slept on the floor that night. Oh my God. The way that I immediately had anxiety run through my body, because I was picturing that closed door, and I was just like, don't open it. I don't even want to open it. I would have been shitting bricks if I had to go in there, because at some point you would have to, and I would wait for the mom to have done it, because I'm not going in there. If she's the only one that doesn't know that it happened, so I would let her go check on it first, and I would be like, I'll sit right here and see what you end up seeing in there, because I'm not going in there. Oh my God, it makes it so much scarier when there's a witness with you, I swear to God, because then you can't even make an excuse for it. Because any time that I've seen anything, it's by myself, and I can't even prove whether it was what I thought it was or not. So, terrifying. All right, number 6. Both times that my family experienced doppelgangers, the doppelgangers refused to respond when spoken to. No manners. The first was my sister's doppelganger, who my brother told to go downstairs for lunch. She did not answer. When my brother walked downstairs, he instantly saw my actual sister wearing a different shirt. She couldn't have passed my brother so quickly because the staircase led directly to our dining area. The second was my own doppelganger, who stood at my door at 12 p.m., mute and staring at my sister, who was using the computer. I wasn't actually home until 4 p.m. later that day after school. My sister didn't know that until she asked me why I was just staring at her without emotion earlier around noon. I had to go check something out, and it totally freaked me out, and I was like, I need to go see. My sister didn't know that until she asked me why I was just staring at her without emotion earlier around noon. Okay, yeah, I figure they're not going to talk because they are an apparition of yourself, some kind of form of energy, and they don't have the will to speak on their own. It's giving like tethered vibes, but without actual human beings, I guess. I have no idea what to call it. If you have a better vocabulary than me, chime down in the comments below as to what I should have been calling it this whole time. Okay, story number 7. I'm so fucking weirded out right now. What the actual fuck? I was sitting there on my computer when my brother walks in and sits down on his bed. He doesn't say anything. He is a quiet person, so that's normal. I go to the bathroom, walk back in, and he's gone. I look outside, and the car that he had left in with my mom a few hours ago still isn't there. I go outside to see if anyone else is home that I could have mistook for him. Nope, I am still home alone. What the hell? Yeah, what the hell indeed, because I would have had the exact same reaction. I like how he's just like, excuse me? Like, this is not adding up. I'm sorry. That is so freaking scary. Especially now when my brother is basically a ghost. Not like he's passed away or anything, but he, like now that he has his own car, and he like takes my mom grocery shopping and all of that stuff on his own, sometimes I don't even know if he's there or not, because the usual way I know that he's not home is because his door of his room is like wide open. But sometimes like he'll close it, or like it'll be closed the whole time, and I'll think that he's been in his room the whole day, and then he'll emerge from the kitchen and I'll be like, what the hell? So I would go immediately and check for his car, because obviously now that he has his own car, that is one way that I can verify whether he's home or not. Because there was one time where I swear I heard his door close and I was like, oh, he just got home or whatever, and I'll go check to see if he is home, and I won't see his car there, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what that was. It might have been a draft. Maybe my mom closed it while she was out there in the living room. I have no idea, but I don't dwell on it, because I would be like this. I'd be like, no. All right, story number 8. We had problems with doppelgangers at a fast food joint that I worked at. I had 2 separate sightings myself. First, my general manager comes by to tell me in drive-thru, and the register person to clean the lobby, then goes to the restroom. So the register person and I come up with a plan and wait for her to come out. We see her walk out of the restroom, walk by us, and walk into the lobby. We go to catch her and no one's there. We turn around and she's walking out of the bathroom. We tell her what we saw, but she didn't believe us. I was so confused as to what plan they were making. They were doing a plan to catch the doppelganger, or whatever, this clone. Alright, second one. Manager and I are in the prep area. One of the girls who was working up front walks back and right into the walk-in cooler. After about 5 minutes of waiting, the manager asks me to go check on her. I open the walk-in door. There is no one in there. As I'm trying to explain this to my manager, the girl in question walks into the prep area from the front. Needless to say, the manager believed me and finally believed what had happened in the first sighting. Oh my god, the workplace is sacred, and so is the home place. Whenever these things, of course, home place being more, whenever these things are tormenting you while you're just trying to do your job, I feel like that has to be the ultimate form of, I don't know, I don't even know what to call it, cruelty. I don't know what these things are trying to do. These entities are just trying to mess with our heads. Or if this is some kind of glitch in the matrix, like, who knows? All I know is that I'm so scared of ever having to experience that. I don't like it. We're gonna do 10 of these, okay? Alright, yeah, let's do 10. Number 9. I woke up one morning to my dad going to the kitchen and stopping by to say, "Hey, wake up." And then I took out my phone and started watching YouTube. I was awake for sure. Later, my mom was walking to the kitchen and did the same thing my dad did. Then I get out of my bed, and I see that my parents were still in their room. I asked them if they asked me to wake up while walking to the kitchen, and they said no. I don't know what it was. Can somebody please explain? Thanks for reading. I'm sorry that I don't have an explanation for you. Maybe they were playing a prank on you. That's what I would say. They were like so tired and like sick and tired of asking you to wake up and then seeing you on your phone that when you walked past, because I'm pretty sure they did go back to the room or something, and then you asked them, they were like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Just to be petty. Just to be like, oh, are you scared now? I don't know. That would be my logical thinking, because I don't want to be scared, honestly. Because to this day, the fact that both of my parents said that they didn't check on me when I was like 8 years old at my old house in Lancaster, California, I feel like both of them were lying. Or both of them were like half asleep, like going to the restroom or something. They did a peek and then they like dozed off while standing at the door for a long time, and then they closed it and they were like going back to the room. I don't know. That's how I like to justify it in my head, so don't get scared. Number 10. The last and final one. This is the point of the video where you comment down below and you tell me if you like these kind of stories and if you want me to continue. Otherwise, I won't do these again. Just so you know, okay? This is 10 stories. This is a lot. I'm being really generous with you guys, okay? Just because I'm in a good mood, you know? Like the video. If you're already at this point, make sure to like it right now. I'll give you a second before I start again, because I need to drink water. Okay, did you click the like button? You did? Okay. Alright. Number 10. The first one was my husband. I turned into the hallway and saw him there, walking away from me and towards the bedroom at the opposite end. I called out to him, but he didn't respond. As soon as he entered the bedroom, he turned to the left. There's just a wall there, not even any windows. I followed him into the bedroom, but there was no one there. My husband had been upstairs the entire time. The second time was my dad. He was unloading some things from his truck and was going to bring them to the back door, which opens into the kitchen. I was in the kitchen and heard a noise at the door. Through the window in the door, I saw my dad bending over as though he was bending down to untie his shoes. I ran to the door and opened it, but there was no one there. My dad was still at his truck. Perfect. Both times it's been a family member. Both times I haven't seen their faces. Neither even felt wrong in any way or sinister. The movements that the figures made were exactly the movements my dad or husband would have made. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, that makes it even scarier, because that's like mimicking to a T. Like, because if you've been around somebody for so long, like, you kind of know how they walk, you kind of know how their posture is, and even their footsteps. Like, now not so much. Now it's a different kind of footstep that I can tell that is my mom, my sister, or my brother. Before, when I used to live in a townhouse, I had stairs. Like, it was a 2-story townhouse, and I could tell, you can tell whose footsteps are coming up the stairs, right? And I had that memorized to a T in my head, and I will forever know whose footsteps are whose. And now I have like this long hallway that leads up to my apartment that's like all the way at the end, and I know whose footsteps it usually is. Like, I know when it's like random people going upstairs to the other apartments above us, or like they have kids and stuff, they're like running with their dog, whatever. And those I usually just ignore. And then I know my mom's footsteps because of the shoes that she wears and the way that she walks in them. She always wears like booties with like a heel, and she always walks like her weight forward, so everything is so like loud when she's coming in, and like the sound of like her ruffling through her stuff trying to find her keys. So the fact that this thing knew how to mimic even their mannerisms and the way that they moved makes it even scarier, because what the heck. And obviously you knew that there has to be something wrong with the whole image, because even though at the time you didn't feel it, you knew that your husband wouldn't just ignore you if you called out to him. And obviously seeing your dad, who was not even there when you were over there looking at him, oh my gosh. Truly, truly terrifying stuff. I like these stories a lot because it's been a minute since I've read any like stories of this kind. Once in a while when I do like the storytelling ones, I get a few here and there where somebody thinks that they heard their mom's voice or their dad's voice, and then they end up figuring out that they're not even home. I get like a few stories like that. But when you actually see someone that's being mimicked, like your loved one, oh my god, that's so scary. I'm just gonna call them mimic entities. That's what I'm gonna call them, because that's literally what they do. They are exact duplicates of somebody for whatever reason. You know, that it's very, very confusing to me as to what the reason could be other than energy being flown through in that way. Because like the case that I did of Amelia, oh my god, I can't remember her name. Her was like some kind of astral projection or something like that. Is that the right word? I don't know. And where it was like in her mind, she wanted to be in two places at once so badly. This is the phenomenon, the theory, that you are pouring out this energy where you're like, I wish I could be out there gardening and in here teaching the kids and supervising them at the same time at this other classroom. And she was under so much stress wanting to do that, wanting to be like the best teacher ever, that she was pouring out all this energy and making an apparition of herself, like a duplicate of herself, doing all of these things at once. And other people were able to see it, and they could tell that there was something off about her because she wasn't replying back, but she was doing the task that she always did, other than the fact that there was some glitches in there. Like when she was writing on the chalkboard, she had the maneuver of writing on the chalkboard, but nothing was actually being written. It was just the mimic making the movements. But since it's not a real person, it's not a real life thing, it wasn't doing anything other than just being an apparition in the room. She was not actually completing any of the tasks that she actually had to do. If you guys are interested in that video, obviously I'll leave it up in the little eye so you can go watch that later, because I love these kinds of stories. They're so fascinating, they're so intriguing, and they really make you wonder, like, what is the purpose of all of this? What is the purpose of these manifestations and these entities just living amongst us and making these experiences for us? Because all of these people were not asking for this. They were not asking to have these stories. And of course, they could have made this up just for a good old spooky story. But I like to give people the benefit of the doubt and really give these stories some thought and be like, why would anybody want to make this up, right? Other than for the clicks, I guess. But in the end, they'll know. They'll have to live with that lie. And that the whole internet is talking about their lie. I bet if they already went to the point of lying about it, I don't think they would even care. But as I said, I like to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I just like reading these because some of these, if they are made up, they're very creative and they genuinely do creep me out no matter what. So anyway, that is it. 10 stories that really did creep me out. Some of them actually made me feel anxious and gave me like a little chill down my spine, especially being alone here. I'm scared. And I have a pair of scissors because I gotta keep that thing on me. You know, I gotta protect myself. Alright, I'm being silly now. Alright, that's it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end of the video. And if you did, make sure to leave one of those little couple emojis, but with the same gender. That way they look like they're mimicking each other. And that way I know who stayed all the way to the end, because not a lot of people do stay all the way to this point of the video, and I really truly appreciate all of you who do. And as always, me and you are besties. You guys already know that. I don't have to keep reminding you, do I, that we're besties? But we are. And before I do end the video, today's comment shout out goes to this person right here. I forgot to do that the last 2 videos and I felt really bad. But thank you so much for leaving a nice comment. As always, I really do appreciate it and it really makes my day. I love seeing all of your guys' comments down below. And yeah, guys, thank you so much again for watching. Hopefully I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to stay safe and be kind. Bye bye.